to come up and share some of his experiences with us, please.
Thank you, Dibakar. I'm going to start by saying, Mr. Abdullah, Honorable Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, and then later on I will take the liberty of switching to Omar. Distinguished panel, family members, my guardian colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually very, very honored and touched by this huge turnout today, and it just really shows that my life's journey has been successful with so many colleagues, friends, and family. I'm grateful, Omar, to you for agreeing to release my book and for all the kind words that you've said today. Yes, I remember you, and I remember one particular incident particularly well, which is that in this 4-story building, we always, since Omar was a Z security person, he would be sitting on the ground floor and all other people would go and sit on the first and second floors because no one had the courage to sit next to him. But no, I don't think you didn't have the guts to start something like a company. I think what you started was in politics, and what you have achieved as the youngest Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir is probably... Personally, and my wife Veera, we always look fondly at all your successes and everything that you and Payal have achieved. I'm not going to take too much time, but I do want to share that, when I started my journey, my second innings as it's referred to, I was 47 years old. And a lot of people told me, you're mad. My wife told me, are you sure you want to become a chemist? My parents, who are from the government, said, how can you become a shopkeeper? And I was reminded of a very, very old incident. And I think I failed every possible exam because I just couldn't figure out how to be a doctor. So when I became a chemist, I told them, I said, see, I finally made it. And I'm close to at least some part of the doctor's profession. What really made me write this book was a lot of interaction. An organization called the Indus Entrepreneurs. I used to mentor a lot of them, I still do, and at one session I remember talking to about 40 young people, and all of them came to me and said, we want to come and spend 4 hours with you in the office. Came and spent 4 hours, they had all kinds of questions, and then one young lady suggested, why don't you write a book? And I said, it's okay to write a book, but how do you expect me to write a book? I mean, it's not easy. But that got me thinking, and I said, why not? And on the 15th of March, Veera was traveling to Bangkok for a conference, and I told her I'm going to start writing a book, and she smiled and said, tell me another one. She came back after 5 days, and I told her I've written 10,000 words. And then I just started writing. I'd come back after a long day at work. I'd sit at 9 o'clock after dinner, and 9 to 11 every night I wrote. And before I knew it, in 2 months' time, I had finished 107,000 words. And then came the problem of how do you find a publisher? And Penguin was amazing. Dibakar, who's the master of ceremonies today, when I sent him a script, I think within 4 days he wrote back and said, we want to publish. So that's how we got involved with Dibakar and Penguin. So I'm grateful to Penguin for having published this book. I'm reminded of another SMS that my son had sent me, and I think I've quoted this very often, but I'd love to quote it again. And the SMS says, why can't a Bania, I'm a Bania, why can't a Bania play hockey or football for India? And the answer is because every time he gets a corner, he opens a shop. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is the story of Guardian. The title of this book, The Buck Stops Here, represents a very, very much used phrase. And this was first popularized by President Truman. He did not originate this phrase, but he had this placard on his table. And that's how really I think the world got to know it. And as a professional manager, I used to use this all the time, saying, when I'd argue with somebody, I said, the buck stops with me, and the buck stops with me, and really trying to show that I'm the final person who's got to take a decision, till I became an entrepreneur. And I realized that the true meaning of this phrase, I realized that the buck stops with the individual who has to find money at the end of every month to make sure there is salaries are not delayed. And that's when I realized how important this phrase was. And I used it in my book, and Debakar decided that he would use this as the title of the book. Finally, I'm going to express sincere thanks to all my friends for their support, to my parents, to my sons, and most importantly to my wife Veera, who stood by me through 7 years of Guardian. I think she tolerated the fact that I was never at home. If I was at home, I was on my computer. But Guardian has grown. We've grown into the second largest chain, and we are on track to be the largest in the next few years. I'm grateful to all my colleagues. A number of them are here in this room, because Guardian would not have been possible without all their dedication. Finally, I hope you will enjoy reading this book, and thank you very much again.